What is the point of trying to be perfect? Does perfect exist? Does perfection exist? At what point in our life is being perfect a reality? As human beings, we all have flaws. We all have things that we need to work on. We all have areas in life that could use a little cleanup, could use a little correction. We all have areas that we could do a lot better in. But if at any point in our life we begin to think that we should be perfect, where does this come from? Who fed us this mindset? Because we come from a creator that clearly makes it clear to us that we're not expected to be perfect. That as human beings, we're gonna have faults. We're gonna do things wrong. We're gonna mess up. And I know sometimes we see things online. We see these individuals living certain lifestyles, and for some reason, we're led to believe that being perfect actually exists when it doesn't. And the more we try to be perfect, the more we go against who we are as human beings. The more we try to be perfect, the more we mess up. Sorry about that. I wanted to get by some people. But yeah, at what point were we given permission to try to be perfect? When you see these people on television or certain neighborhoods or wherever, it's your choice to begin believing and thinking that you should be perfect. As human beings, is it okay to mess up? Is it okay to live in reality that we do things wrong, and because of that we grow as individuals? As human beings, is it okay to strive to want more and do more, have more, create more? Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely here to create. We're definitely here to do more with our lives. But being perfect, that just doesn't exist. Our creator never told us that every day of our life we should become more and more perfect, right? We're told to repent. We're told to ask for forgiveness. When we do wrong or we make mistakes, we're told to be humble and admit to those and strive to do better. But for some reason along the way, we begin to think that it's okay to start feeling the need to be perfect. And when this occurs, we cause a lot more stress in our life. We cause a lot more anxiety. We cause a lot more emotional way of living and thinking, overreacting, and anger, jealousy. And this truly comes from trying to be perfect in an imperfect world. So I'm here to tell you right now, if you're going through something, or something's not working out, or you lost your job, or you lost a family member, or you just lost your way, you lost yourself, it's okay. It's okay to sit down for a minute, go back to the drawing board and write down what you want. It's okay to say, I've been trying to be perfect, but it's not working out. You know, it's okay that you're a human being. You know, it's okay that if you may not have what your neighbor has. Okay, you may not be where you want to be. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I wanted to get across the street and maybe catch this cruise line leaving. But yeah, back to being imperfect and trying to be perfect. Back to remembering that it's okay if you're going through something. It's okay if your emotions are a little jacked up right now. It's okay if you're not where you want to be. Don't let anybody tell you where you should be in life. I once heard this statement. It's kind of humorous and funny, right? But it says that if you want to make God laugh, tell God your plans. And a lot of times we try to do that. A lot of times we try to tell God what we're going to do in life, and then we wonder why it doesn't work out. We wonder why we're stressed out and things are falling apart. And the reality is because we're trying to do too much. So go back to the drawing board. Write down what you want. Write down what it is exactly that you're looking for out of life. And imagine that every day. And be okay with the process. Be okay with days when it just doesn't feel like it's working out. Be okay with just not being a perfect human. Have a plan, have some goals. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't be so stressed out when some storms roll through in life. Don't get so upset that you lose sight of where you're going in life. Don't let some breakup, some heartache, some changes in life, lead to crazy decisions and taking past that, take a lot longer to get back and back on track. Be okay with enjoying the process. Yeah, starting this week, think about this ship right here. Okay, this ship, they have an idea where they're going. Okay, there's a plan in place. And that plan's going to be executed. Doesn't mean there won't be some issues along the way. Lord willing, everyone gets there safely, right? But the reality is every day, like this ship, like the one in charge, like everybody that's playing a role in this, the plan is to get there, to enjoy the journey. So starting right now, get a walk in. Focus on enjoying your life. Focus on getting recalibrated. Focus on what it is you want in life. And focus on just that. It's okay, like I said earlier, to not be perfect. It's okay to not know exactly where you're going right this moment. But in the larger picture, right, in the large picture overall, definitely have something written down. Definitely have some images to go with that. And execute every single day. And what I meant by it's okay to not know where you're going right now, meaning like maybe today you're tired. Maybe you're exhausted tomorrow. Maybe you just need a break, and that's okay. It's okay every now and then to say, I just need to sit down and chill. I don't know what I'm doing next. God will give you the answers. Just have faith and be persistent. But quit trying to be perfect. It's never going to work out. Remind yourself every day that I'm a human being in this experience, and I'm gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. Stick with it. Share this with someone if you feel they're in need. Encourage some people around you. Watch everything circle back around and do so much great in your life when you help other people, when you strive to do a lot more in life. And never, ever, ever give up.